What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast. I'm your host, Val Medved. Today, we'll be featuring a class act of a gentleman, a hot rod enthusiast, an instructor for Pratt & Whitney, and an avid lover of Bull Terrier pups, Mr. Dave Wark. A seasoned leader in the aerospace industry with a career spanning over 3 decades. When you see him, you'd never guess his age. A true ageless wonder. In this 2-part interview, we'll cover his journey completely. Currently serving as a general manager and PRM at Consolidated Turbine Services Canada, a subsidiary of Kratos Defense Systems on Canada's west coast, in the epicenter of all things helicopters. He oversees the financials and strategic growth of the PT6T and PT6A overhaul shop. His expertise extends to the field service, technical representation, troubleshooting, and as an instructor for PT6T courses. I'm Val Medved. You're listening to the Vertical MRO podcast. Let's get this started. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Salus Aviation and Precision Aviation Group.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now, line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Vertical MRO. I'm your host, Val Medved, flying solo today. John has left me the keys to the brand new Porsche, and I'm going to take this thing out for a rip. And with that being said, I got my guest extraordinaire today, a PT6 guru, educator, trainer, establishing a shop a few times up in Canada, traveling aboard in different parts of the world. He probably don't want to talk about too much without getting himself into any type of trouble for engine support and some aircraft support. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my good friend, Mr. David Wark. Davey Wark, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Val. How are you, buddy?
looking spry there, young buck. Look at you.
Well, I don't know. That's why I usually turn this camera off, man. I'm looking at this old dude looking back right now. It's a little frightening.
You got a face for radio, dude. I can tell you that. Yeah.
There it is. First one.
First rip of many, I'm sure we'll get tonight. If anybody knows the relationship between Dave and I, it's rip first, never last. So.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, how you doing, buddy? How's everything out west?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Yeah, it's we thought this season would be ripping up to a nasty fire, but so far, not too bad. You know, it's getting warmer as of yesterday, but
I just recently saw some news there. I guess is it Kamloops area in that valley? I guess they're getting pounded with a ton full of rain.
Yeah, they had a flood last night, a flash flood just outside of Kamloops.
Damn.
And I actually just saw that on the news this morning. Oh, those people! Like,
how are you guys down in the Lower Mainland? Because you're in Langley there. How are you guys down there?
Yeah, no, we're fine, mate. I took advice from my dad many years ago and build on a hill. Always build on a hill.
Oh, not on the bottom part, right? Always on the top, right?
Yeah, and not halfway, because you know what happens. it rolls down.
Yeah. Just avoid the guy with the white hair and the big boat and the animals, right? So.
Exactly.
There's a perfect saying. I saw it was on somebody's t-shirt, and I thought he goes, if you're fighting for something in life, fight like you're the third monkey about to get onto Noah's Ark. That's awesome. Fight that hard,
awesome.
Right?
As usual, I'm going to use that.
Please
a number
do so.
of yours.
Yeah, it's a Valism for taking there. Like I said, I caught it on a shirt. So, hey, what are you drinking, dude? You beat me to my next question. What you drinking? Because if you listen to any of my shows, I'm asking, what are you drinking?
Well, as fate would have it, my friend, it's an addiction that you introduced me to.
No, it can't be an addiction.
Yes,
no, you're not going to meetings yet. It's not an addiction.
No, fair enough. But it's our dear friend, Mr. Wayne Gretzky, the Red Cask.
Oh, well done.
And you should have been a peddler for that, because you got a number of folks on that.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, I was crowned for a long time, and nope, we're on the Wayne Red Cask.
Gretzky's the good stuff. And I'll say this just because I'm supporting my family member when I talk about this. My brother-in-law is a rep here for the Gretzky wine and whiskey brand. And he's, like you said, he's always crowned for the longest of the time. And it's a good Canadian rye. I'm not dismissing it in any way, shape, or form.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But, like I said, once you kind of get onto this, they did okay with the wine, but man, their Gretzky's really killing it. Or the whiskey, I should say, there's really killing it.
Have you tried the aged red cask? There's the normal one, and then there's this aged, and not a lot of people carry it out here.
Aged, I know the double oak one is a good one.
That could be it. That could be what I'm thinking. But well, it's just one of those little, government offshoot liquor stores. I tried it one time. Oh my god, yeah, better, even better. But
if you get a chance to pony up the big bucks, I think the 99.99 bottle, I think it's about 100 something bucks a bottle now, and it's the 99 proof. Like it's that is liquid gold. That is proof God loves us.
Okay,
by feeding us the whiskey.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you should try it. Like, actually, you know what, Dave? Next time we see each other, I'll introduce you to that.
Well, okay.
Cheers, buddy. Here's to us pouring us. How's that saying go? May we get what we keep and keep what we earn, but never get what we deserve.
Well, I've noticed the Val pour there, so.
And this is going to evidently get a video. I'm not sure. We're starting to convert more of these podcasts, the video podcasts. One of my good friends gave me this. It has a single line, the double line. I don't know if you can see this because it's real effective, but it says Val's pour.
I can't see it. That's just so
Val's
funny.
pour.
Yeah. That's enough to kill a camel.
Well, at least give it another hump or two.
Yeah, right.
Good for the libido. Yeah.
Oh,
and these are the kind of conversations I love having with my buddy Warky. So, welcome to our world, there, ladies and gents. So, Warky is an individual who he's been around the block, but you never look at this guy. Like if you ever see this guy's face, you'd never know he's as old as he is. So we'd have to probably cut him in half just to kind of count the rings on the dude. But he is an ageless wonder for sure. What we do now here in this segment of the show, I have icebreakers. And what that does just kind of loosens it up a little bit because you seem pretty tense right now. You seem like not really that.
Well, the conversation we had just before I came on air, that's kind of got my sphincter curdling.
Okay, now the world knows about your sphincter. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. Well, it's in the icebreaker time. I asked a couple of odd questions just to loosen that said word. And we'll take it from there. So on that being said, dude, if you were a sitcom character, what would be your catchphrase?
Oh, actually, this is easy, and it suits our industry. I found it like that. That's the way I found
it. Was me.
Yeah. And we have this every Wednesday. We have this TIG welding course over here at my place, and we get this young guy to come over and teach us old guys how to TIG weld. And we constantly use that phrase with this young guy. He looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, who welded that?" That's the way I found it.
You see the blank look on my face. I'm like, was that mistaken? Yeah, well played.
Yeah, that's our baby, man.
Well played. Mine's always like, my catchphrase would be, "Yeah, buddy." Yeah, buddy. It's yeah, buddy. And it's one of the, like, it originally originated from one of those bodybuilders. I can't remember. He was like Mr. Atlas and Mr. World, Mr. Steroid Face, whatever I want to call it. He's a huge dude, right? And he always, "Yeah, buddy," as he's like lifting 150 pounds above his arms for shoulder press. I'm like, you freak. You learn certain things throughout, traveling to different parts of the world. And I know in North America, you head down to the South. And when you hear a Southerner say, "Bless your heart," that's not a compliment. That is not a compliment.
No, they're basically calling you stupid.
Yeah. Stupid being the polite word. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I get that a lot down there.
"Hey, Val, you're down from Canada again? Bless your heart." All right. You can be invisible for one day, bro. What would you do?
Thank you to our sponsor, Solace Aviation. For comprehensive maintenance, repair, and overhaul services, Solace provides in-house expertise, world-class technology, and certifications to service the global aviation market. Excellence starts with Solace. Find out more at www.salusaviation.com.
Oh, that's a tough one because there's an awful lot you could do with that, right?
Keep it in the legal parameters because this could be used as evidence if you decide to incriminate yourself. So just
well, fair enough, right? But I thought, oh, okay, go ahead and time and catch all this. Well, being invisible, I think I would have to perhaps enter the De Beers Diamond.
Oh boy.
Museum, and all they would see is these two little diamonds walking out the door by themselves. And I self-gain, have to do it. But God, I don't know how we'd get rid of them after that one. But
nice work, dude. Nice work. Yeah, that's kind of a. Oh, what would I do? Oh,
God, do we want to hear this?
You know what? I'll try to keep it family friendly here. That's gonna be tough. I'm gonna plead the fifth, even though I'm not American on this one. So.
I can't see it coming out family friendly, no matter how you.
I would mess with people's homes and leave their doors open and windows open. Maybe put their cat in another yard or a dog in the other. Yeah. I had an 8-foot fence. So how'd that dog over there? He jumped.
Yeah, you'd have to pick that favorite person.
Oh yes, and you know what? There's a short list. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, mine's getting longer. That short list. Yeah.
Well, I'm 26 years young in this industry. What are you, like 320 or something like that? Were you around when the Wright brothers invented flight? And
well,
you're getting there.
Feeling that way, brother. Yeah, it is.
The joints remind us every day, right?
Yeah, glucosamine on a tap.
It's always funny now because as they say, as we get older, it's you when you're driving along. Why do you close your eyes to listen to the radio? and why do you have to turn it down when you're looking for things? I don't get it. So I don't know. I didn't sign up for this part. This is
Innuisms. I like it.
Yeah, this is the small print in the contracts of life. Well, we'll move on. All
right, moving on.
All right. And this is probably home sensitive here, and I know this is the Val, right? So, you ever blamed a fart on someone else, and who was it?
Well, there's only one incident that comes to mind, and as you know, I am a big automotive swap meter, so we go to this huge swap meet every year, and this was just this year, ironically. So. We're in the elevator going up to our rooms, and I'm having a post-swap meet hot dog beer day problem.
The good stuff.
Yeah, so I managed to contain the noise, but the aftermath came away.
SBV, silent but violent.
So the elevator, there's about 6 guys, all older guys that have been in there all day. Sure. And the one guy from the other side goes, "Oh my God." And then everyone starts to sniffing. Well, I started to laugh, and of course, then I couldn't. So the guilt factor comes on.
Yeah, right.
Then of course, everyone's laughing, and so I can't say I actually blamed it on anyone. I just didn't fess up legally.
Oh, I wasn't. I can't say I ever blamed anybody because I usually do what I own. But I was in a hotel, kind of like yourself, and it was the middle of summer. And I was traveling with my good buddy Reed at the time. We were visiting a bunch of different customers and stuff like this. And we stayed at, what's the name of those hotels? They look like identical to each other. The pink ones. I can't remember the name. Anyway, we stayed in one of the upper floors. So on our way down, we're saying, let's go grab a bite to eat. It's 47 degrees Celsius outside. Like, it's hot. So let's go someplace, to kind of just have a nice dinner and a relaxing scenario in the oven. So as we get onto the elevator, we decide to kind of descend, and about 3 floors after we get into it, Reed and I are just both standing there, and all of a sudden what looked to be like a bachelorette party walked into the elevator. And I'm like, and they're giggling, and one was, I can't even call her half cut, she was cut. She was like 3 sheets to maybe even 4 sheets to the wind. And as we go down, you hear this.
No. No,
we might have been in our 40s, but men and farts, we busted out for the last 16 floors ride down, and we just could not stop laughing, and these women could not stop laughing. And then as we got to the bottom, she pulled me off the old Jim Carrey. It was me. I'm like, so yeah, about that.
Love it. Those are fun, man.
No, there wasn't. That was a stinky ride down, dude. We were kidding, right? But you touched base on something here with a little bit of personal here before we get into the weeds here with your personal side of the work. You're a hot rodder, and I know you like building and collecting them. I know you're also kind of, your hair dictates to me that you're a surfer. So good job on that one. Spicoli. Good job.
Cheers.
And talking about that, and you're like in your younger days, you study a little bit of MMA, or I guess we can call that MMA nowadays. And then your love for Bull Terriers.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. A lot of info there.
Mm-hmm. Pick one as you see fit, man. I'm like, I'll wait for you, whatever you want to talk about.
No, when I first got into the martial arts thing, it was the late 70s, early 80s. And it wasn't, you had the Bruce Lee movies and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm not going to start that debate on your show, whether Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris. I'm just going to say I'm a
Bruce
Chuck
Lee.
fan. No, see there it is.
There
right
it is.
There. See? So, but there wasn't the schools and stuff around at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to a place at East End, Vancouver, and I was just a little punk. And first thing the guy says, old Korean dude, he says, you smoke? I says, no, I don't. No, he says, I can smell. So it was interesting starting there. My dad was an old Irishman, and he called it kickapoo. He was all about boxing. So kickapoo was live and well, but
okay.
Yeah, so that lasted quite some time, and I just went on a little bit too long with it. At some point you gotta.
But is mixed martial arts, any martial arts, is there anything too long? Isn't that like a lifelong study?
Not for me. Yeah, I swear to God, man. It was about 5 years ago, and we were just still training, and these kids now are just.
It's crazy, right?
My God, there's schools everywhere, and.
Yep.
Man, this young guy kicked like a truck, and I just realized I bruised like a peach. Yeah. So had to call it
sensitive.
Yeah. I can't hide the mascara. Like for years, we'd go somewhere and sales trips, and I'd have this big old purple, which my nose is quite straight, as you can see from all this. Right?
Like I said, for a guy who's in martial arts here, mind you, you're Irish too, so it's very straight.
Yeah. This doesn't breathe really well. That's the problem. But
yeah. Well, so now you talked a little bit about that, but I know your big passion, you're loving your life outside of your missus there. They had a cat for me there, by the way. All the same.
Well, yes. She's kicking around.
Is your hot rod building. You've had some great collectors. When I met you, you had a kick-ass 65 Corvette.
Yep. The old vet. Yeah. You and I, we went out in that. And we've got the blown 37 now. This thing is a beast. Have you been in that car?
Haven't been in it. Just look from it afar. Mind you, with my fat ass is there, that tub rear end probably does it. I'd probably put it to the limit. Well,
it's funny. Kat and I went out on it Canada Day, and we call her the fatty, her big fat ass, because she's got these. So she'll be parked somewhere, and Kat will say, "Look at the size of her butt." That's really unfair, sweetheart.
Oh, then Dave's like, "Oh, you're the Sir Mix-a-Lot at that point, right?" Big butts, and I cannot lie.
Yeah. But it's a pretty straightable machine for what it's got. We've dynoed it at 610 rear wheel.
Oh my goodness!
And which nowadays, these guys are building these crazy 2,000 horsepower street machines, but I'm telling you that is plenty of power, man.
610, and she's an old metal butte. Like it's you restored it to her glory. So congrats on that, buddy. I know the next one that's coming out of your garage there too, and
one of two. Never do two cars at the same time. That's between that and this crazy ass career that we are in and such. Yeah, I've got parts everywhere.
Go ahead, man. Right now. Drop your famous word as the
rotor spins,
as the rotor turns. There you go.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, your infinite love for Bull Terriers.
Oh, yeah, man. I lost most of these guys in our arena here have met Ollie, as you have yourself.
Yeah. And
man, he was my second bully. And man, I'm telling you, I have lost both parents. I've lost friends. Losing that dog was, man. And he's got a picture right to my left here. We got him in a rocking chair, classic Ollie look.
Right.
But there's
Sprawl
not a day
balls.
he goes, yeah. Well, he still looks at me like, you took those. You bastard. Yeah. But there's seriously not a day goes by where either Kat or myself wouldn't say, oh my God, you know what that crazy animal would be doing now?
Yeah. We fall in love with their fur babies, right? They're part of the household. They welcome you no matter what kind of day you're having, whether it's crap or whether it's good. And
100%.
they're happy to see you all the time. Their tail is a wagging.
Yeah. Yeah. And that breed, admittedly, is not for everybody. My dear old boss and colleague, Johnny Grant, would come up here. He'd look at that dog and he'd go, what the hell good is he? Well, he doesn't fetch, bark, do anything, but boy, he's a buddy, you know.
That's all they need.
Yeah.
That's all they need. That's all they need. Good to know, buddy. We won't talk about your affiliation with Fieros. We'll leave that one alone.
Oh, please do. Yeah. That's a nephew I'm trying to sort out.
Yeah. The fact that he has someone related to him that drives an 86 Fiero.
Yeah. 86.
Yep. 86 Fiero.
Does it really matter what the year is, Val?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Oh, God.
A Fiero's a Fiero.
Isn't that a true story, brother?
All right, brother Mal, let's get into the weeds of it here. Let's bring you into because there is some things that I want to talk to you about here when it comes into, let's talk about you there in your start of your career. You jumped in at a pretty early stage of your life and kind of took off from there. I'll let you kind of explain it a lot, but here from everything from, the start of your career, line maintenance and into field service rep and that stuff like this, when we kind of looked at, when you're looking at taking on that role and then eventually kind of setting up where you at, what you're doing right now, just kind of walk me along the way. So, give everybody a snapshot of who and what Davey Wark is.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Yeah, I actually started a little bit later than a lot of the fellas I went through tech school with. So I think I would have been about 24 and they were like 18, 19.
Okay.
So I was Pappy Boynton. If you ever remember the show Baba Black Sheep.
No, I'm not that old.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. but seriously, I got the Pappy Boynton patch because I was a little bit older than the guys. And, it was let me see if that time, BCIT, we had moved to the South Terminal. So, you're getting a good dose of aviation at that point. And that class of ours, man, I still stay in touch with a lot of those guys that went through. We've lost one or two. You remember Davey Steigand, of course. I'd probably, love that man. But it was a little bit different. They'd come recruiting you right off the bat.
Out of BCIT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And initially, I went fixed wing. I started my career at Kelowna Flightcraft.
What?
I know. And, I knew I didn't want to do that. And they were very good. It was Bear Lapointe was he was and still is the owner there. And it came to the point where they were going to send me to Newfoundland they wanted to rush me through and get my AME license and work on conveyors, right? I just, something about the helicopters. And then all of a sudden something came up with Canadian helicopters and away I went. The downside of that was I went to the shops immediately, right? So normally the guys would do their tour in the field, mm-hmm. and then backtrack into the shops when you want an actual home life. Mm-hmm. Well, I sort of did it backwards, and
they threw you into the field first.
No, with the component shops at that time, there was very little field work. At that time, you were pretty much pigeonholed into the shops. So that lasted for a number of years, and we went through a number of name changes. I mean, in this industry, you can work for the same company and wear 4 different badges over that time, right?
So, preach about that one, Padre.
Yeah, I went from I went from the tail end of Okanagan Helicopters to Canadian Helicopters to Canadian Gas Turbines to Acro Aerospace to Acro HeliPro Global Cert, like it just blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And let's see, about 2004, I had a bit of a comeuppance with a senior fella at that time. I believe it was, I don't think we were Vector then, could have been. But he'll remain nameless. He is still my my nemeth, and those that know me know who I'm talking about. You know what? You have to forgive and forget, Val, in this industry. You got to have
Irish. You're Irish.
Yeah. and he was Scottish.
Right? Not that, okay, all right. But I thought the Celtics all get along.
It's that famous line from the Mel Gibson movie Braveheart, where the crazy Irish guy goes, "Do I get to kill the British?"
Jesus.
Right?
Yeah. They're from my island.
Yeah. So this guy and I had the falling out. Well, that led me to the individuals I work with now for the last 20 years. Hence the field service, which they were very big on at that time. And another one of our mutual friends, Howard K. Hadley.
Oh yeah. Father Howard. Yep.
Yeah. He says to me, "Warky, what is this AME thing?" I said, "Well, it's we're engineers up here, Howard." And he says, "You got to get yourself one of them." So I literally had to reinvent myself in 2004 and write the AME license after 14 years out of school. That was tough, man. So,
especially like you said, and kudos to you. And just, I hope that anybody's listening here, that's never too late to kind of get into this industry, so long as you kind of approach it with an open mind and know that there's a pretty good career ahead of you. So when you're starting this at 14 and you having to write the AME test at 38,
yeah,
good night of living, dude. Well, congratulations. That's a good one.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Yeah, it was BCIT. I gotta give a shout out to them. They were very helpful.
Yep. Is there an instructor there you want to kind of give a quick shout out to, or not so much?
Oh no, always, right. John Edwards. I know a lot of guys probably just rolled over and went, "Duh," but John Edwards was he was like a pit bull and a puppy. He just wouldn't let go of anything. And
he pushed you to be better, kind of thing.
Yeah, they actually took me back at BCIT
and said, "If this guy can learn it, anyone can."
Yeah. Well, it was funny though. It was reverse engineering. They had me teach there.
Oh.
Part-time.
Yeah.
And that sort of brought back all the Transport Canada rules and regs. It was the regs. Oh my God. Sure. Everybody knows the regs are the toughest. But anyway, out of that, I came licensed AME with a 412 endorsement. And from there, the fellows that I hired on with at the time, it was North Star Aerospace, which actually was, how'd this work now? It shared the same board with Vector. It was very, very bizarre. So we were slaying it because we had this field service where you didn't have your typical salesman who's, in Vector's case, a lot of great sales guys there, but they were numbers guys, where this side of the fence, we were not so much numbers guys. We were maintenance guys that tried to learn numbers so we could relate to the folks. And
so just a painting a timeline here. We're going to put this late 80s, early 90s.
This would have been 2004 now.
Oh, okay. Okay. A little further on. My apologies.
Yeah. No. So 2004.
I just think because you're that old.
I just dropped a hearing aid. That scenario went on till about 2010.
Okay.
When I had the opportunity to go back to Vector, and I kind of felt like I had to clear my name for whatever reason that was. Call it for better or for worse, but I left there didn't leave there on my own terms. So I had a chance to rebuild. So,
Well, from all the years I've known you, dude, and I say this respectfully, we always poke fun at each other. I know our jokes always appreciated amongst each other, but I've never ever known you to have a bad name. So good for you for kind of keeping that clear. Because at the end of the day, when people talk to me about David Wark, they always have good things to say, and I kind of only hope to get half of that recognition once I'm kind of doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I think you're going to do all right, brother. Thank you for that. But as I recall, you and another dearly departed friend of ours, Larry Batchelor, came to visit me at that time.
Yeah.
So
rest in peace, Papa Batch. Yep.
Oh yeah, gosh, there's another one. But I enjoyed that time back at Vector, although it was short, because the opportunity came up. Oh gosh, about 18 months later to come back with my American brother in here and carry this gig on. So that went to Mint Turbines, which we carried out the same maintenance orientated sort of sales roles. And as you know, man, we reached all over the world, Val. It was insane. Yeah. We were just slaying it for the longest time.
I know you and your team were very desired there when Larry Batchelor was my boss, and I was living at the time in Arizona working for a particular company here, and I know he tried hiring you guys on for the PT6 division there.
Yeah.
It was going to almost be outside of Tony Rossi, who was just a loudmouth, it would have been a really good team, right?
Yeah. So. God, I can't even say regret. It's not that I regret how that fell out. I'm almost ashamed how that fell out with regards to Larry, because we were very close to going with Larry, which would have amped that particular show up.
Fair. Yeah.
And at the 11th hour, I couldn't do it.
We ended up getting Al Fonseca.
Yeah.
He jumped on board.
And the rest of the story is you all got herpes.
That's right. And this is where the podcast ends. Good night, everybody.
No, but gosh, and from that derivative, like that would have been 2010, I think. I actually have a picture of you on a stretched out Harley from about that tour when you were still in that arena.
Yeah. And, sitting on that seat, because that seat was like 58 degrees, 60 degrees.
Yeah. You had this great smile on your face at that point.
I was faking it 100%. Yep.
But yeah, like that, geez, I'd forgotten about that, Val, to be honest. But
you're not a spring chicken anymore. And I say that you've been around the block, dude. You've seen a lot of things, and with your, like I say, and so kind of going back when you're at Acro / Vector / about to be on board with Consolidated, you're at a component shop there, and you're 212, 412 endorsed, right? You're jumping to everybody that has a 212, 412 in different parts of the world and supporting them.
Yeah.
That had to have been like, how the hell do you even pack for that, first and foremost?
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
You know yourself, and I'm telling you, I think right now, if I had to pick the thing that is the hardest for me to do, it's to travel now. Traveling now is really hard for me. I don't know whether it's because or a little bit different scenario now, but at that time, we would be gone in a nanosecond. You just pack, you're gone. I still pack poorly. I packed poorly then.
Right.
I could pack a set of tools, no problem. But you think I'd pack clothes? Oh no, my God, it would just.
How do you prepare the pack? Like I've heard about some of the places you're very well known in Australia, because I was out there not long ago. Yeah, right, Dave Wark. Yeah, right. We know him. Yeah, right. It's that kind of thing, right? So you're held in high regard there. So it seems like you put on the miles in and throughout I guess would that be the eastern coast of Australia? Or eastern coast.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And into the depths of it with up into PNG.
PNG, yeah, 2 places in my entire. I always tell the young kids when we hire these kids, you have an opportunity to see the world places you'd never go or never sign up to go.
Mm-hmm.
Afghanistan and Papua New Guinea are my two biggies.
Holy crap moments.
Yeah. And ironically, you get there and people are so wonderful. They help you out. But I can promise you this, Val, you ever get on a local flight in Papua New Guinea where there's chickens and things running amok, and those are our good friend Jan Boy's machines.
Yeah, right.
And the smell, brother, there's a trick. You take Vicks vapor rub and you stick it in your nostrils.
Right.
Because the smell is overpowering.
Is it because they just don't have the bath products that you and I would have, say like the Swaggerville on the old spice stick or whatever?
Yeah, there's some of that. Yeah. But the Highland people in Papua New Guinea, now I don't know whether they still do this, but there was two things they would do to keep their warm, because the Highlands are, in their opinion, actually cold. To us, it's quite nice, especially to you from Winnipeg. It would be like a summer day. But they would rub pig fat on themselves.
Oh my.
Yeah. And then that sort of switched over to motor oil, I heard, was a little bit. Yeah, that and a little along with some of the BO and such, and chicken shit in the plane, and
pig fat. That kind of explains a little bit of their myth of cannibalism on that neck of the woods.
Yeah, still alive and rampant. I'm telling you, I know you know him and I've met Jan many, many times, but this is a man that's had malaria a number of times, and he is that guy, the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
Jan Boy, and thankfully good friend of mine and yours as well. And Jan put me under his wing and would take the last tour I did there was, you'll never see stuff like that, especially with Jan.
So you jumped into that world. You're on the other side of the planet. You've seen quite a bit of stuff. And I ask you this, the progression of the aircraft maintenance and the preservation of the maintenance. What would you think is the biggest difference today versus 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago?
Oh boy. Well, we are dealing with legacy aircraft now.
Yeah.
I'm legacy. You're not quite legacy yet.
I'm getting there.
You're close. Actually, you kind of are.
Yeah.
But these are my old Chevy pickup trucks, the 212s, 412s, and they're very robust. But one of the last tours I did to Australia, they were getting phased out for the AW139, which is, and there's guys gonna hate me over this, but they're more like the Fiat sports car, the European. I won't say the Fiero. They look sexy. They are sexy, but they are not as robust as our 212s and our 412. So you get the guys all over the world. It's never ceased to amaze me how these guys maintain these machines in environments that, we're cold as hell, which is no picnic. That is really, really a challenge to work on these machines when it's freezing cold. Well, then go to 40 degrees C and in the jungle, and you're slipping off the deck and you're falling on your ass, and then to the desert where it's 50 degrees C and you'll shut the machines off at night and they're scalding hot. So these guys are the real heroes, man, that are out there working on those machines in the middle of nowhere. And the knowledge factor from when I first started the field service to this point now, whether it's the training, like those courses that we would put on, perhaps, I'd like to think that had something to do with it. The guys are...
Toot your horn.
Well, it's no longer black magic, Val. The engine, is not that scary. The guys understand it, and I sort of practiced what I preached all those years was, don't be afraid to open this thing and go. And we would take the calls, and that was part of, that was our forte, so to speak. So the maintenance and the knowledge with the directors of maintenance and that, I've watched so many, I've watched great guys retire, and the fellas that have up and come, the guys in their mid 40s now, that started off when I was just starting, they're brilliant. these guys are over the top brilliant, you know?
It's been kind of the theme of our last few shows when we talk about tribal knowledge, and having the ability to kind of learn what that person's teaching down to, whether it's a director of maintenance or whether it's been an old wrench that's been there for 30 or 40 years. So I think you're striking a chord there when you talk about, you know, even yourself, dude. And like I said, you've been around the block, you've seen enough to know and to educate the young bucks nowadays. And you're like, and I've asked this question of a lot of our guests that kind of talked a little bit about knowledge retention and kind of talking about teaching to others. Are you seeing that they're grasping a little quicker, or are they kind of finding ways to get done a little more efficient than per se you went through back in the days?
Oh, 100%, Val.
Okay.
Like for, this is more on the component repair and overhaul side. When I was running that show at Acro Vector, I had a giant ledger logbook, and I would record in pen the engine event in the test cell, what we did, blah, blah, blah. I'd have all these columns, you know. Well, that eventually leads you to, you know, you can come up with a recipe, if you will, for these engines when they go through. Well, now our Johnny Grant, my boss and colleague down in Oklahoma, his son Logan has taken a computer program of that, and he took that whole ledger I have, plugged it all into a computer program, and now he simply plugs into the program, says the symptoms of the engine and
Work scope call out.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
One of our last guests, your buddy as well. Scott Hayward talked about. We talked about the AI gap that's really shortening here lately, and where, you know, good to go is no longer the sign off on a log card anymore.
No.
Whereas you're having, you know, like you said, you have a scope call out, and all of a sudden it tells you to diagnose this, and this.
Yeah.
In a nanosecond.
Yeah. I think with our generation, and you're lumped into this, it's really easy to chuck shit at the millenniums. Sometimes they make it easy, and I've met some of those kids that you're just, holy cow, kid, like, really? And then you meet these type of guys, and they take it to the next level again. And I know the challenges Scott is having. It's the same challenge, of course, that we have. But ironically, today was the third month probation for the two youngest apprentices that we've hired. And, you know, I was going to pull a heavy on
They got their wings?
Yeah. I just couldn't do it, man. I was going to bring them into my office, you know, and, you know,
this thing isn't working out as quite as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a soft spot on David Wark. You can't be hard if you try to, dude. There's no way. You're such a princess in that department.
I couldn't do it. I was going to pull in the whole "you're patched in now" thing, but they wouldn't get that. So instead, we had them in the hangar.
So Sons of Anarchy, you're going to call them Sons of Engines.
Yeah, right. So I wound up buying them both a toolbox off Marketplace. We got a great deal on them. So they're graduating presents or employment presents, if you will.
Nice work.
Yeah, they both got a toolbox. So
congratulations, dude. Well, congratulate them on, like I said, there's two. You said 2 or 3?
2. Yeah.
2. So you got 2 extra. Wait. I think I know which ones you had in the back component shop there. Last time I rolled through. Okay.
Yeah, the 2 kids, they're really and young, and they're great. You know, they're man. I come in the other day, and like I say, honestly, it's easy to chuck shit at a lot of the millennium. I come in, and the one young guy is mopping the floor. I mean, wow. You know,
yeah. He's taking a little initiative there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
You find the talent pool that way is kind of I don't want to say thinned out, because there's still enough of AMEs that are coming out there, but are you finding that there is a that 1%, you know, that 1% of graduates that are coming out, are you finding that their education level is like, these kids want to get after it? Or are you just finding out some of these kids are just kind of like, this is just a job that'll kind of get me through and maybe help me pay for a couple of my expensive hobbies?
Well, I don't think it's what they signed up for. Because I asked them that question today. Okay. I said, how have you guys found the shop environment as opposed to the school environment? And they both same time said completely different.
Really?
Completely different. So I was actually happy to hear that because I didn't want to say, oh, it's easier, it's this or that. But
So on that, is there any advice to the educators then letting these kids graduate?
it was similar when we came out. They have to give you a certain amount of curriculum, but I have to ask myself, is anyone stupid enough to work all night with a flashlight in their mouth in the rain to get a machine going again? Like, you're going to have a hard time. Aviation doesn't pay that well. You and I both know that. And you're away from your family. And I mean, there's a lot of,
I think it pays decently. It's just the work that's required maybe is kind of the determining factor.
yeah, it's the family home life that gets, it's a rough gig, right?
That is true.
But the experiences in that you'll have are second to none. You're just not going to, I don't think of another career where you're going to shake hands with a very, very tiny little person that, is a bellhop in Borneo,
Yeah. Wow. I think Kevin Shedd, one of our past guests here, I think you and him cross paths. Good, young, great fella to kind of teach a lot of the kids that come up to Fort St. John and kind of have him train. He's with Yellowhead now. He spoke about, there aren't too many jobs that you can kind of be working and turning a wrench on a transmission underneath the northern lights on a tarmac. Like you put in some pretty unique scenarios and situations. And I think your executive level decision making has to probably be pretty high par. Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Solace Aviation. For comprehensive maintenance, repair, and overhaul services, Solace provides in-house expertise, world-class technology, and certifications to service the global aviation market. Excellence starts with Solace. Find out more at www.salusaviation.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Hey everybody, this is Val here with Vertical MRO. Thanks for listening to this part 1 of our series. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. Your support does help and create more content like this. For those of you who want to continue the conversation, join us on our social media channels and platforms or visit our website over at verticalmag.com. We'd love to hear all your thoughts and questions about today's topics. Until next time, I'm Val. This is Vertical MRO. We'll be seeing you.